Good morning, everybody. And it's great to have everyone back at Talking Tech. And it's great for myself to be back here and me engaging with the community as well. Today, I'm going to talk to you about Microsoft Teams Phone. Again, a large content that could be covered here, but I've tried to distill it down to 20 minutes in the interest of keeping it short and snappy. And there will be information and links that are posted as well that might be relevant to you. For those who've not engaged with me on this channel before, my name is Mario De Silva. I'm a global black belt that helps customers on their journey with hybrid work at Microsoft. And look forward to, let's dive into the session. From a starting point, I wanted to, like I said, I've distilled down the content here. I could probably spend a day talking to you about Microsoft Teams Phone. So from an agenda perspective, I've tried to break it down into simple parts. One is the Teams Phone end user experience capabilities, and I've added a bit of administration there as well. And then we'll go into what are the options from deployment architecture perspective. Customers sometimes get confused as to, okay, I want to go down this path. How do I get there, right? So I'm going to walk you through what are the ways you can take yourselves on the journey, the simplest way to, if you've got complex requirements, what that architecture might look like. And then we'll spend a little time talking about end user devices, because I think that's an important part of this as well. So going into it, I thought Microsoft recently released their hybrid work report, the Work Trend Index survey that we did in 2022. And there's some really interesting findings from my perspective as well that I found in this report. If we start from the extreme right-hand side, if you look at it, you'll notice that on LinkedIn, jobs that have remote or flexibility listed on it get 2.6 times more views than jobs that are in the office all 100% of the time. And also on the other side is 3 times more applicants for those roles, right? So people are expecting to have this flexibility of working from an office, working from home. Some people don't even want to go into the office, just work remotely. And I think Teams as a phone platform helps people achieve that and still be connected with their internal employees and staff, as well as with external organizations that they collaborate with. The other one, I'm not going to go through every stat on the screen here, but I think on the extreme left-hand side, you've got 57% of remote employees say they're likely to consider shifting to hybrid work model in the years ahead. So we all been working remotely with COVID lockdowns over the last 2.5 years now. The trend from employees is that they do not want to go back into the office 100% of the time. Right, so 57% say they want to have flexible working still as portion of their role. My personal experience and the way I work is, even though Microsoft gives me the flexibility to work remotely 100% of the time if I choose to, my preference is to go into the office in person 2 days a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I tend to tell people I work with that I'm working from the office on those 2 days, and interestingly, people have started coming on those days that I engage with, and it's great to have that social connection and interaction as well. So let's jump into Teams phone system, because I think Teams phone system helps with that hybrid work context. Like I said, lots of content, so I'm going to just be snappy on some of these slides. Just to give you some idea of how the growth of Teams as a phone platform has grown over the COVID lockdown period, and growing as we go through it as well once we've opened up. The last stat on the screen you can see there, prior to COVID and the lockdowns, we had roughly 650 million calls on the Teams platform, monthly calls on the Teams platform. Now, you take that to today, it's grown to over 1 billion monthly calls. Tremendous growth in the usage of Teams as a phone platform that we're seeing as well. And one of the reasons customers like to do it is because Teams consolidates that total collaboration experience and the video experience and the phone experience into one platform. On the screen over here, you can see what the soft phone looks like from a mobile perspective up on the top part of the screen. And then at the bottom part, you've also got a graphical representation of what it looks like from a Teams client on the desktop or phone on your laptop. You can see you've got a 3x4 dial pad just below that, and I know it's really small to look at, but you can see you've got your phone number over there. You can dial from here. You can search your contacts, right-click call. If you get a voicemail, your voicemail is presented in this interface to you. It's transcribed for you, so you don't really have to play the voicemail. If you choose to, you can still play it. On the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you can see that little play icon there. But at the same time, above that, you can see the transcription of that voicemail. So it's really intuitive, gives end users a far richer experience. And wherever you have access to the Teams client, through the browser, through a mobile client, through your desktop client, you've got access to this capability presented to you. And it's integrated into that one platform for you. Like I said, could keep talking about this, but I've been told I've only got 20 minutes, so I'm going to keep moving on. So let's go ahead. Some of the other not enhancements, but really some of the other capabilities that organizations tends to use. Things like music on hold, things like call, park, and retrieval, consultative transfers, things like call queues, for example. If you're using a legacy platform, you might have called it an ACD queue, right? So that's how Teams delivers those capabilities into the platform, and it's a fully fledged software-based PABX that's built on the Teams platform in the O365 cloud. Things the employees can do, I should say, is group call pickup, delegation, and the best part of all this is the end user defines it and can configure it themselves. They don't need to go up and call IT to set up a delegate, for example. If I'm going on leave, or if I want my calls, for example, if I'm going on leave and I don't want my calls to go to voicemail, I can set it up in such a way that it forwards all my calls to someone else in my team or to a group of people in my team. And they'll get my calls that come through, so customers don't go to voicemail that doesn't get responded to till I come from leave. So these are capabilities, and I can manage that myself. I don't need to call IT again, right? And that's the key context over here. It's empowering end users to work the way they want to work. From an administration point of view, all the administration takes place in the Teams admin console. You can allocate phone numbers to people through this interface. You can create call quality dashboards that you can see on the top right hand of the screen, and you can manage the entire platform in the Teams administration console. Troubleshooting, everything's built into that one platform. And so it's easier to do things as a result. It's simpler to do things as well, and you don't need to have complex skills to be able to do that. So let's jump into some of the, I guess, components of what is Teams Phone. So like I mentioned earlier, you've got the software-based cloud-based enterprise-grade call control in the O365 cloud. You then have overlaying on that is, of course, your carrier services. Now you've got different options with carriers. You've got the ability to do calling plans that Microsoft provides in certain countries natively. And I'll share with you the list of countries later in the session. The other option is to do a recent thing we released in November last year, which is called Operator Connect, which is really where we've worked with operators and provided APIs and SDKs for them to be able to inject their carriage services into the Teams platform if you choose to select them as a carriage service provider as part of Operator Connect. And then you've also got direct routing, which is the third option. Very valid still. I want to think, some people think direct routing is not a valid option anymore, given that Operator Connect's been released and Microsoft's got calling plans. I want to set the record right here. Direct routing is still a very valid architecture. If you've got complex environments, you want to retain your current SIP carriage services from your existing telco with the SIP trunks coming into your network, you can still build and maintain that. And we've also got several carriers that provide direct routing as a service, right? So it is a very valid architecture. One thing I want to do is make sure all three are very valid architectures. Direct routing will provide you a bit more flexibility if you've got complex requirements. Like if you've got analog phones and you want to deploy an analog gateway, it's easier to do that with direct routing, right? So it's, if you've got more complex requirements, direct routing might be the solution for you. But work with our Microsoft partners, our system integrator partners, our operator connect partners, and others, or even work with your Microsoft representative to get a workshop done, maybe to understand what best fits your business requirements and which of these models would best help you to move forward. So looking at the three, I've gone through this again. Just on the map over here, you can see some of the calling plan locations where Microsoft has native calling plans, as well as some of the calling plan market, new calling plan markets that we've just released. I do have to call out though, in certain countries, we do calling plans through third-party providers. So for example, in Australia, Telstra provides TCO, which is Microsoft. It's a calling plan, but you contract that through Telstra, so that's why I call it through third parties. Whereas in other countries like New Zealand and other locations, Microsoft can sell you the calling plans themselves without for you to have a relationship with a third party in those instances. So like I mentioned earlier, direct routing, you've got your PSTN provider, you've got your voice trunks coming into your network, you've got certified session border controllers. Now you can go up to the Microsoft website and look at the list of certified session border controllers. I could have put it in this slide deck, but I think it's easy enough for you to do a search for certified session border controller Microsoft Teams, and you'll find a list that's provided to you. And this then integrates into the Teams phone soft PBX that's sitting in our cloud, and you enable your users on the platform, and you've got Teams up and running. I mentioned interoperability with third-party systems. So if you've got contact center, for example, if you've got other requirements, analog devices, I'm just trying to think of some of the other key requirements that might require to put in a SBC on-premise. Sometimes if you've got some resilience requirements as well, that might be a reason why you put an SBC on-premise. So for example, we've got some customers that want to have, if all comms to a site go down, we still want to be able to make calls within that site, right? And we have SBAs that we've got, which will give you the ability to still have that architecture enabled for you, right? So definitely we can address those scenarios as well. Operator Connect, really what you're doing over here is working with your carriage service providers that Microsoft's certified as operators on our platform through the Operator Connect model. And it's as simple as going up to your Teams admin console, selecting the operator you want in Australia, for example, and getting them to contact you, and they should be able to provision numbers for you quite quickly, right? So if you want new number ranges, they should be able to provision it. Some of them within 5 minutes, some of them might take 24 hours to do it, right? But it's quick. The whole idea is to be automatic as real time as possible. The other option, of course, is if you want to port numbers. These operators can still port your numbers across to the platform. It's just the porting will take time for you. And you can have different carriers in one country providing you Operator Connect services, or you can have different carriers in different countries providing Operator Connect services for you. So you've got that flexibility of carrier choice through Operator Connect that comes into the solution as well. And of course, you've got the Microsoft calling plans that I mentioned, which really is all about rapid provisioning. Again, you can port your numbers, but porting does take time. And I'm sure if anyone's worked in the telco world, in Australia or any other region for that matter, will know that telcos have SLAs for porting, and that could be a bit longer than expected sometimes. So going forward, I notice I've only got 5 minutes, so I'm just going to try and hit the highlights here. Contact center is one of the big things that we get asked as well as part of the Microsoft Teams phone system capability. A lot of customers also have contact center requirements. I've got on the screen here the currently certified contact center providers, right? What I would encourage you to do is keep going. Again, do a search for Certified Contact Center Microsoft Teams online, and you will get a list of the latest updated contact center providers that will work with the Teams platform. So at the moment, these are the lists that you've got. You can provide integration into the Teams platform and be able to use contact center. Doesn't become a blocker now for you to move forward with the Teams deployment within your organization. And some of these providers are a full cloud solution as well. So you don't have to have any on-prem infrastructure required to roll out contact center and then integrate it into Teams at the same time. Compliance recording becomes another requirement that when I engage with customers a lot, because there are certain roles, especially financial organizations, people providing wealth advice, people providing stock advice, all those kind of things. Those calls need to be recorded. It could be in public sector as well. Customers want to have compliance recording, right? You have the ability to do that with Teams, with our compliance recording partners over here. Again, new partners keep getting added to this list. Get on the website when you're ready to make that decision and make that transition. Look at the latest list of partners available there and work with your system integrator service provider to select the right partner that will meet your business needs at the end of the day. I could have put a screen full of devices over here. One of the other considerations that customers ask me when they're looking at Teams is, do I need to give everyone a phone? Right now, I can tell you most of our customers today will not deploy a handset for an end user. There are certain use cases, however, where you will need handsets, like common areas, emergency phones, reception area where you might want someone to be able to make a call, external security requirements. Those are the scenarios where I'm seeing largely customers deploying handsets. Most other cases, over the COVID break, we've all got used to using headsets like I'm wearing today. People are using headsets and using the soft phone as their primary device, right? And I can't see that moving away. I did have, a long time back actually, I did have a CIO when I told them, hey, we can do soft phone for you. And I had a customer tell me, or the CIO at least of this organization tell me, that a soft phone doesn't work for me, because if I'm having a heated conversation and I want to slam a phone down at the end of that call, I can't do that with a soft phone. So you will need to deal with different scenarios within your organization. So keep that in mind, I guess. Do an audit of your end user requirements. I've also had customers that gave everyone's handsets, and a few months later, everyone came in and handed their handsets in because they did not want to have that cluttering their desk because they were so used to using headsets, right? So look at the website though. However, I will say use a certified device, please, because that device can be critical to the end user experience that a person's going to have, right? I have seen people using uncertified devices. The one I'm using is a certified device at the moment, but I've seen people using their mobile phone devices that they got with their mobile phones, and the experience for the remote party is not great, right? And it'll show up on your call quality dashboard as well. When you're looking at the call quality dashboard, it'll say remote party is using a mobile phone X headset, which is causing audio quality issues in the call. So keep that in mind when you're going through the process as well. The last slide, I promise you, and I know I'm running out of time. So if you've got old legacy gateway handsets, I should say, and you have a need to use them, we do have a SIP gateway that will enable some basic capabilities. I won't call it full functional capabilities that you'd have on the soft phone, for example, or on Teams certified handsets. It'll give you some capability so that you can at least use that device against your Teams platform. You, however, need to have a SIP load on that device. Sometimes putting that SIP load on the device is as expensive as going out and buying a Teams phone, certified phone. So consider that as part of your cost and experience difference that's going to be available as well. I'm on time, 20 minutes on the dot. I'm hoping that gave you some insight as to what do you need to consider? What are the core things? Why people go with Teams as a soft phone? When do you need a handset from an administrator point of view? The 3 different models with Microsoft calling plans. You've got Operator Connect, and you've got direct routing as well. If you've got any questions when you're watching this online down the track on YouTube, post the questions and I'll be tagged to them, and I'll come back and reply to your questions, and engage with us on the Talking Tech at Microsoft channel as well on LinkedIn. We'd love to have your engagement and your participation. Thank you very much and have a great day.